for Mr. Peter Obi to still recontest election, if only he can maintain the tempo that he has already started with this time around. So there is no point fueling crisis. There is no point for obedient or some people sitting somewhere else and causing crisis. Or, people have not seen it before. I don't understand.
What exactly, Mr. Balogun, is that statement that is likely to cause crisis? What did he say that is not true but will just cause crisis in the polity? What is he being accused of?
Yes, he's been accused of inciting people. By the time you are saying that, for example, now, by the time the Labour Party governorship candidate in Lagos, Nadibo Road says, if Lagos catch fire this night, don't say it is. No, if Lagos catch fire this night, don't say it is so because the election has been rigged. Leave that Nadibo aside. Now, Mr. Dati himself said that even on live television program, he said there will be serious problem and they will swear in the winner of the election, which is President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And again, this leaked video of Mr. Peter Obi with the conversation he had with Bishop Oyedepo. You can, if you listen carefully to that one, you can see Peter Obi saying it is more of a religious war. This is a religious war, Daddy. This is a religious war, Daddy. As if the election is war. You understand? All those things that, when you now say Professor Keyamo's reaction, Keyamo reacted in that way, in line with that video, saying that Obi is toiling the part of religious, trying to incite people against religion. That is the point.
Okay, well, Funke will be responding to this, but let me just stay with you a little while longer. First of all, that audio that you're talking about, that you're calling video, must have been done before the election itself. And after the election, to be fair to him, he is not the one who dug it up to come and play so that it will incite violence and all that. So why are all these things now attributed to him? That these are the things he's doing after election that will bring violence and that are labeled treasonable?
That means, yes, you are right there to say that conversation has happened before the election. Yes, but it has not been leaked. Now we got it now. That means all the tempo has been on a very high level before the election. That people have been instigated to that level. Can you imagine? That means already that election that it's like the last election they had somewhere in Nigeria year 2011, when one of the presidents who happens to be the sitting president now, President Muhammadu Buhari, was saying that it is if they did not win the election. You know what he was saying at that time? As if when he was contesting that CPC. So let's not flash back to that place. And somebody else, Jonathan, said, election is not about war. His own victory is not demanding for anybody's blood. You understand? But this Peter Obi way now is like the obedience. Our brothers in Southeast, we count it as if this is our turn. This is our turn. It's either we have it or not. Nigeria was born. This country will be or nothing else. Not all those things, but it's good for Obi, His Excellency Peter Obi, to come out and say that no, I will go to court and seek justice. But if it is not my turn, nobody should spill any blood. Nigeria belongs to us. We have no other place to run to except this our country, Nigeria. He's supposed to come out and make that statement, and that will douse tension. They will not be saying Chesney felony. Nobody will be accusing, but keeping silent and talking and inciting and uniting people, and we are getting more secret like that. Come, think of it now. We are all Nigerians.
Okay. All right, let me let Funke Awolowo to respond to this. Deputy Chairperson, Lagos State Exco Labour Party. What is your response to this? Your principal, as it is, the presidential candidate of Labour Party, Peter Obi, has been accused of treason. He and the deputy have been accused of treason because of statements that they either made before the election or they're making now after the elections, or things that the people who are following them, known in Nigeria right now as the Obedience, are doing. So what's your response and the response of your party to this?
Okay. First of all, Shakespeare said something that I will start with. He said, to be first is nothing, thus as in THUS, but to be safely first. That means that when he became king, he realized that he got in through violence, through bloodshed. And as he saw the repercussions, they began to say, really, was it worth it? And that's what I want to ask APC. After all has been said and done, they're quoting Jonathan as if, they have done what Jonathan did in the past. When Jonathan saw that the turn of events might turn into bloodshed, he said his ambition must not cost any man his blood. That's not for APC to quote, because we have numerous people that their lives have been lost in this process, because some people cannot accept that they were defeated. What we call in English language sore losers. They have become sore losers. You can see that the presidential election, the first one, that happened, there was a landslide victory, so to speak. But a lot of things were manipulated, and we saw that by the second term, they were battle ready. Somebody saying, he just said, is it do or die? That's not a code for Labour Party. As far as I'm concerned, presidential candidate Peter Obi has been very decent. He has not traded words. He has just followed through his ambition and what he wants to attain. And the same goes for Alhaji Ahmed, Dati Ahmed. They have done their part in a very decent way. Now we're talking about the Agberoism in Lagos State. Thugs have taken over. Most of the places where people expected to vote decently were raided, full of thugs, intimidating people. Some people could not vote. Some people, after voting for a certain party, were attacked. All these are glaring. And if there's any decency in most of the people, especially when you see bloodshed, you are talking about youth, people who are very young, and they are going there to express their votes, to express their mandate, and most of them, had to be slapped, they were stabbed and all that. And that is why, if Peter Obi is decent, which he is decent, that's why he has reacted, this bloodshed is uncalled for. It's uncalled for, and they have to apologize. A lot of people, I know, it's a, first fact that I know that people have died. And he that is speaking, unless it's not in Lagos, it's so that people died. And it's all over, not just in Lagos. Even in the East, how it took, the time it took for the Abia governor to be announced. All this violence is uncalled for. If you win, I'm remembering years ago when my grandfather had to go to court. The 12 thugs that San Akinjide proposed, even though Papa did not agree, but he went to court. So going to court is a decent thing. And over the years, you can see the aftermath. Nigerians have had to regret that move of never allowing the late Sage to become president. We don't want to regret. And that's why we are being proactive. We're going to court. And nobody is going to stop us from going to court. Let them stop intimidating Mr. President Peter Obi, President-to-be Peter Obi, because there's no court. Why are they bringing up phone calls in the past? And calling, I was reading on Facebook. Derogatory comments made on Papa Oyedepo. Why? Why would you do that? That office is an office of the clergy, and you've got to respect it. Why bring up, I don't know the relevance of that phone call. I can say it was a personality war. Somebody can say it was a religious war. Somebody can say it's a tribal war. It's their opinion. It should not be, flogged the way it has been flogged. It is uncalled for. And we need to get to a point where we are decent in the polls. Nigerians have been retrogressive. They've taken us back to the 60s. And many of the things they brought out are doctors' roles. That's not fair. And it's so glaring and visible for all to see. And yet you are saying somebody won? That's not decent. And that's not the legacy I want to leave for my sons. or for my children yet unborn. And therefore, we're going to see it through, not violently. I know years ago, that's how they pinned on my granddad, treasonable felony. I'm seeing a repeat, a recycling, and that's wrong. It's so wrong. And you cannot go to the Hitler way of propaganda. I'm seeing that playing through the APC, and it's got to stop. We have to be decent in the polls, and we have to be righteous in the polls, and we have to do right. Nobody is saying it's do or die. Nobody can never be do or die because we have children. We don't want to see our youth being stabbed and killed. There's some gory pictures that I've seen, and I'm wondering, is it because somebody wants to become president? For crying out loud, who does that? It's got to stop. And Nigerians have to go forward in the 22nd century that we are going into. We have to learn to be decent. Thank you very much.
Okay, at least at this point, one thing has been established, that none of us wants violence, whether the APC or the Labour Party. Nobody wants violence. While the APC is saying, let's move on, the Labour Party is saying we will see it through with the most legal means that we can find, the most peaceful means that we can find. So we don't want violence. But at this point, whether we are going to court or not, we are in a period of healing. And whether we heal while still going to court or not, but we need that healing. So let me start from Mr. Balogun. If you were to proffer solutions to this healing process, give some pointers to what we can do to get this healing, what would you say? Mr. Balogun, please.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes.
What will you recommend for us to get?
Like we have said earlier, going to court is part of the process. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, it's part of the process. I for one, and many Nigerians are not against any aggrieved person going to court. Even if the second person go to court and the third person now thinks that he will, let the judiciary interpret this for us. So, let the judiciary interpret this for them, and whoever the judiciary declare as the rightful winner will eventually become the president of Nigeria. Are you getting the point now?
Yeah.
Are you getting what I'm trying to say now?
Yes, I'm getting that.
But you cannot see me because NEPA has just performed their blunder now.
It's all right. It's all right. Just let us hear what you can recommend.
So, as the president-elect has rightly said, that this is the time for healing, and that it's ready to form a government of national unity. So we should all just put aside the election. That is that's the first thing. We should forget about the election issue. I'm not talking about the contestants. I'm talking about Nigerians as a whole. While we move ahead, we are waiting the judiciary to do their job. Let healing continue. Let peace reign supreme. Let governance continue now, so that the campaign is over. So that let's continue to live in peace and unity, particularly in Lagos. In Lagos, where the obedient are so hell-bent, where there is agitation for this between Yoruba and Igbos, where there is likelihood of tension. You understand? And we don't want this to happen like that. You have been living peacefully for years, for God's sake. And this should continue to live. So, Peter Obi should please, for God's sake, call all his obedient and Igbo people to order, and particularly the Igbo, the elders of this Igbo land. The statement of Chief Iwaya is not a matter at all. That I had meeting with people all over, and we shall see. People should forget about it and achieve violence. That's the point. So we should just move ahead. Another 4 years is there. Peter Obi is the youngest of all contestants. Of all the top contestants, the four of them. So he has a very good opportunity. He should just keep on building this structure, and tell people to forget about all this crisis, forming ethnic crisis, religion crisis. Just tell them, no, let me pursue something in the court. And if the judiciary give it to me, good. And if the judiciary say no, I'll wait for my time, and Nigeria will move forward. If he likes to join the government of unity government, if he likes, he say no, I'm not interested. There's no big deal in that now. So we should move forward. All Nigerians should just, for sake of peace, forget about the election. Election is gone already. Now, let us come back to our normal life. Let's live our normal life of peaceful coexistence. Let's fashion a way to move out of poverty. Let's fashion a way to get out of all this tension. The CBN there is giving us a lot of problem. Odefele is there. Crisis of this is still lingering everywhere. Where crisis is still there. Things that we need to tackle.
Okay,
so we should forget about this electionary.
Mr. Balogun, just shortly before I go to Funke to wrap up as well.
Okay.
Can we get some pointers from the president-elect, for instance? Because this seems to be like a battle, well, permit the word, a battle between a president-elect and the person who feels that he should have been the president or he was robbed out of the office because of the way the election or the process was and all that. So can we get any pointers? What, for instance, has the president-elect done that for you shows that he likes unity, he likes peace more than the other? Because some people also from the other camp are complaining that there are a lot of things that were said and have been said in Lagos State, and the president-elect is not saying anything about them. He's not addressing them at all. And if you think there are things he has done that Peter Obi should have copied, or any other person who is making inflammatory statements, let us know these things so that we can also point them to the people who need to toe the line.
Yes, if I can get you right, you ask what the president-elect has said.
And done.
And done, yes.
Yeah, because I remember, maybe you'll have to explain that one too, because he said he doesn't care about a government of unity. He wants competence. Yes, some people may understand it in a way, and other people still understand it that he doesn't want national unity. Maybe you'll explain that as well. And you explained some of the things that the loyalists to the APC said in Lagos that Tinubu has been able to address, so that we borrow a leaf from there.
The point I can decode from what you've said now is that what, as the president-elect said, if you remember vividly, on the day he was receiving a certificate of return, you understand? After receiving that, the first statement that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu said was that either you vote for me or you do not vote for me, either you are pacified, you are obedient, or you are articulated. Let us forget about that. That this is time for healing. That already election is gone. That is ready to work and form a government of national unity. I'm sure you remember that vividly. So having said that now, he has opened his doors. He has opened his heart. So everyone, come, let us salvage, let us rescue this nation, this sinking ship. Let's salvage this country together. Let us work together. If you have something that you really, supposing you become president that you want to implement, come with it. Come forth with it. Let's brainstorm. Let's put round peg in round hole. Let's put square peg in square hole, so that everything will go pari passu and Nigeria will be greater. He said that actually, and I believe he meant what he said. Of course, you know Lagos State, you know Asiwaju antecedent, you know what he has done when he was in Lagos. You know, I was able to assemble technocrats. Most of them now, there is you cannot deny the fact that the vice president was the commissioner in Lagos, the president vice president was the commissioner in Lagos, Minister Fashola was the governor in Lagos. All those, you cannot mention the list. This list is so now having the opportunity to be there now. He knows those that's going to assemble for the purpose of moving Nigeria forward, and because he knows that APC, our party, has actually not delivered according to what the party manifesto of the party says in the past 8 years. No, there are challenges, of course, you know, a lot of challenges. But now that he's coming on board, we believe that Asiwaju will do something greater for all of us Nigerians, and Nigeria will be very peaceful if only other aggrieved leaders can rub off and cancel all this sectionalism, cancel all this ethnic crisis and things like that. All should just focus on Nigeria of our dream, so that we remember that we don't have another place to go. I, for one now, I'm a citizen of Nigeria. I'm not a dual citizen of any country. I have green passport. I cannot run to anywhere. But those people that you are talking about now, they can just speak of something and fly away now. So all of us should come together. That this is the reconciliation period, a time that we should reconcile. This is the time I think our brothers in the Southeast will come together, having conferences and colloquium that, okay, come, election is going, what are we going to do now? So can we have the Senate president? Can we have this? What can we do to have this? But we should just be thinking, be proactive. You forget about this election that is passed already. Let the Supreme Court finally, and the Supreme Court give us that, okay, Asiwaju is not the winner. It's number 3 that win. So be it. Nobody can challenge the Supreme Court. Therefore,
Okay.
no. Inauguration that there are people are protesting, anti-inauguration. What is that, for God's sake? So, what is supposed to be? Some people are protesting for inauguration will not take place, and in a place where there is government, sitting government. It's not possible.
All right.
So
okay. Tunji, thank you. But let me go to Funke. I'll come back. There are other things we need to talk about. Funke, we are in the healing process, and I just asked Tunji to say what some of the things he would recommend would be for us to heal. What will the Labour Party recommend? What would you recommend that we start doing before May 29th? And whatever we do now before May 29th is also going to be what after or beyond May 29th Nigeria will be as well. So what are your recommendations for this peace and healing?
First of all, yes, thank you. First of all, I find it so patronizing, in a sense, for somebody to say, having done all the violence and, killed people, maimed people, burnt market, to name a few, now you're saying, let's come together. It's like the rapist saying to the raped, come, don't forget the violence, forget that I violated you, forget. And there's no apologies. Let's just, begin. Let's even get married. I think that's a huge slap on the face. We all want peace. But you see, first of all, we have to establish peace among the certain people that they have burned their market. I heard that even today, so many markets were locked up for no reason at all. So how do you begin to heal? The healing can only come through equity, through justice, through, attempts by the party that has inflicted all the pain to sue the people. And how do you do that? You submit their mandates to them. You cannot smother us away and say, yes, it is done, just come and join us. That would be foolishness on our part. And that means that as parents, as leaders, we are not seeking after justice. The Bible says we must seek after justice. We must seek for equity. We must know how to soothe the people, and that's not through violence. So the healing is going to be a long-run thing. It's something that, yes, we are going to do a lot of reparations to get to the point of healing. I'm not being unnecessarily obstinate, but there is a lot that has been done that I have seen. It's not even about hearsay. He said he's a full Nigerian. So am I. I have my green passport and everything. I am a full Nigerian. Of my parentage and all that. My mother is a Fasoya. My father is the late Segun Awolowo. So I'm full. But nobody should be able to deprive or deny us justice as a people. And he said the Igbos will be all right. That's very condescending. Am I Igbo? There are many people. There's a diversity in LP that must be respected. And if we say we don't want a certain government, then we don't. He said it while he was talking that NEPA just took the light and all that. Is that good governance? Is that not what APC has done to us? So please, don't insult us. And don't tell us to come and join a government we do not agree with or that has not demonstrated any form of justice. So yes, it's a good suggestion to go towards healing. In fact, I'm a healing minister. I know that before healing, certain things must be done. When Jesus was healing the people, he had compassion. He was full of love. And so he stopped to heal people. We are not seeing compassion here. We are seeing disrespect of people's persona. We are seeing disrespect of tribes. We are seeing disrespect of people's mandates. How do we start the healing? I'm asking myself. It's going to be a long-drawn thing. And it's going to take, first of all, the APC party apologizing to all involved. Then we'll start steps towards reparation. Reparation also means we'll get our votes back, not just they will gain our votes. No. So we have to look at equity. We have to look at respect for mankind. Because people, oh God, you should see what I saw. People were stabbed. People were killed. Somebody said he was trying to vote as soon as they looked into what he was doing and gave him a dirty slap. Who does that? Please. I love what you're saying about healing, but healing comes out of love. Healing comes out of empathy. Healing comes out of compassion. And we have not seen that yet. Thank you.
Okay, let's digress a little bit. Let me know about the Nigeria of your dreams, what you were hoping to get and what you are still hoping to get as a person. What is the kind of Nigeria that you would want to leave for posterity? Because you mentioned your son and children yet unborn that should be left a legacy that they should be proud of. What is this legacy that has been playing out in your mind that you think Nigeria should have, the Nigeria of today should leave for the Nigerians of tomorrow?
Okay. To be candid, when we started the movement and Peter Obi came out, over the years, I've read about him, I've seen what he did in Anambra. So I was hopeful that at this point, we're going to get a leader that will respect, the hopes and aspirations of the people. And when he started speaking and going around to learn, especially when he went to Egypt and so many places to learn, I saw that this man had a teachable spirit. He's not coming as a tyrant, he's coming because he wants to impact and he wants to put certain things into the system. And so he actually aligned with my Nigerian dream. That's utopia that you wish. Because I've lived, even though I have a Nigerian passport, I've lived in the UK, I've gone to, so many countries, and I've seen even Dubai, I've seen what good government can bring. A government that knows what they're doing, not a clueless government. And as I saw, as we all got together on the drawing board making strategy, I saw that this was a dream that is, achievable for Nigerians. So that's, Peter Obi aligns with my Nigerian dream. Over the years, was it Ojukwu that came to my granddad's funeral and said, this is the best president Nigeria never had. And some people will say Ojukwu was Papa's #1 enemy. But he had insight. He knew that this man really meant well and all that. So that's what I'm looking for. I saw in Peter Obi the Awolowo spirit. And that's why I'm backing him. And I know by God's grace, he will get there. He will get there through equity, through understanding of the legalities involved. He will get there because he has insight. He means well. He has not failed his people. And that is my dream, a dream of Nigeria where we have lights, where there's water, when children can go to very good schools. Years ago, when I was going to England to school, at some point I went to England to school, we used to transcribe. What you did in the University of Lagos was as good as taking it to any university abroad, even Oxford and Cambridge. That's not the case today because we are failed on education. That my dream is for us to get back there and to surpass what we used to know Nigeria to be. My dream is for every child, every son of us to finish school and to get a job, not to have to jackpot, as they say. My dream is to go on the road and it will be death traps. Can you imagine the other day? A train and the bus hit each other. And it was because they said later, they were saying, they told the bus driver, don't go. He wanted to run through. People, there are no traffic laws. People just do as they please. And it's because there's no good leader. So that's my dream. My dream is a place where the economics of the nation, the economy of the nation, supply and demand is very good. When they say when supply exceeds demand, there's inequity. No, we don't want that. We want a balanced economy where we're able to have a good local industry, as demonstrated in Aba and all that, where they make things. Peter Obi kept on saying, I'm taking you from, is it production, where we're able to, yes. We need to produce, not just to be consuming. We need to be responsible. And that's the dream Harrow had. And I'm seeing it in Peter Obi. And this is a dream come true. And I just hope by the grace of God, the God that I call upon, that we get there. We will get there in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Okay, let me go to Tunji as well. Beyond party lines, paint us a picture also, just like Funke has done, of in Nigeria, you want your name to be associated with maybe 10 years to come, 20 years to come, 50 years to come that we have fought for. What is that picture of Nigeria that you see, that you hope to get, even when you have left the stage? Tunji, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, finally.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
I said thank you for that question.
Yes, please.
I listened very well to my sister there, Mrs. Pastor Funke Awolowo. You see, as a real Omoluabi, I have a lot of respect for Awolowo dynasty, a lot of respect for Awolowo family. I was one of the youngest people that used to attend Yoruba Youth Forum in the Fuyela Hall in Kennedy, when the former Ooni of Ife was there. So for Pastor Funke to speak in this direction, it's not new to me. I quite agree with all what she's saying. Because from Yoruba Unit Forum, where Baba Adebanjo and the likes are, we have serious hatred for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'm saying without any reservation. We have very serious and passionate hatred for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. How will somebody like my sister's caliber, Pastor Funke Awolowo, be saying that Obi has anticipated? What about Sister Citizen? We are not campaigning again. Let's look at this.
I think we have passed that one, Tunji, because
yes,
we've passed that one. Right now, I am saying Pastor Funke Awolowo has given us a picture of the Nigeria of her dreams. What is your own picture? Beyond party lines.
Beyond party line, beyond party line. I want a Nigeria where peace, justice, equity will reign. I want a Nigeria where businesses will thrive. I want a Nigeria where the youth will be fully employed in a serene environment. I want a Nigeria where security, where we can close our eyes to close when we are sleeping. Where banditry, kidnappers are stopped. Where government and our leaders will be responsible to the future. We're all proud of to carry our grandpa's leaders. Our leaders will come to class and be real leaders. Not a sectional leader, not a religious leader, not a Nigeria where unity and strength will reign supreme. That is just my dream for Nigeria.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tunji Balogun, chairperson of the Director General, rather, of Omoluabi Coalition Group. You have spoken well, and we've also had Honorable Funke Awolowo, Deputy Chairperson of the Lagos State Labour Party EXCO. At least we've been able to agree that we want a Nigeria that is a lot better than the one we have today. But we also have to realize that all of us have to put our hands on deck to make sure that happens. Both parties have said that we want a Nigeria of unity, love, prosperity, and equity above all other things. And we hope that we'll get to that El Dorado one day if we have the right attitude towards our country and the way we do things. So thank you very much, Mr. Tunji Balogun, for coming on the show, and also Honorable Funke Awolowo for being part of our show today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
And thank you, my sister. We are on a different platform.
Okay, we'll be talking with Tunji Balogun, Director General, Omoluabi Coalition Group, and also Honorable Funke Awolowo, Deputy Chairperson, Lagos State Exco of the Labour Party. And with that, we're wrapping up the show for today. We do hope that you had a wonderful time. Do join us again tomorrow as we bring you another edition of Plus Politics. Until then, my name is Nyamgul Agaji. Thanks for being there.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
Peptic ulcer disease is the disease of, not exactly disease, a condition, a clinical condition where there is an ulceration, meaning a wound in the stomach. Peptic, coined from the name peptic acid. Peptic acid is found in the gastric. So sometimes you hear gastric ulcer, you hear peptic ulcer. They're not physically different. They are just relating to the stomach. The only other different type of ulcer is duodenal ulcer, which is just the next organ after the stomach. All right. The stomach, which is the sac that contains food, also contains gastric acid or peptic acid that helps to break down protein. The word peptic there is directly related to protein. Okay. So it helps to break down protein. But over time, there could be hypersecretion of this acid that could now cause a breakdown in the walls of the stomach. Now, the stomach walls originally contains mucous membranes or mucosa that prevents this acid from eating up the stomach lining. For some reasons, again, this mucous membrane could also be reduced or absent and further allowing this acid to eat up the stomach. And when this happens, you come down with what you call the peptic ulcer disease. Peptic ulcer disease can be caused by a couple of things. One of them is stress. During stressful moments, there is a hypersecretion of acid, right? Just to break down the food in it. It's natural. In the whole body, when you're stressed, the body metabolic rate is increased and intensified, and you have many activities going on. Carbohydrates is broken down, more proteins are broken down, fatty acids are broken down, to provide one major thing, which is glucose, to allow you to think, send glucose to vital organs. One of them is the brain, the other is the eye, the other is the heart. All these organs, want to function optimally. Now, the gastric juice is also enhanced to break down any food in your body. So that's why if you just ate and you get into very major activity, not long after you'll be looking for the food. Or if you're chewing gum, because those are signs of stress. Now, so stress is one of them. But then when you try stress in an empty stomach, recurrently, you are giving room for this acid to act on the walls of your intestine. The second major cause of peptic ulcer disease is a bacteria called Helicobacter pylori. Helicobacter pylori is a very dangerous bacteria because, a bacteria that dwells in acid, I really don't know what you want to do to that bacteria, but basically, it stays there and it eats up the lining of the intestine, all right? So this is one of the implicative factors for those who are positive for ulcers. One of the third causes is the use of drugs, certain drugs, or certain chemical substances that are erosive, caustic soda. One of that one is some of all these drugs you buy on the road, you just ingest them, you swallow them anyhow, especially pain relievers. That's why you don't just go out to take pain relievers just anyhow. They affect the stomach, and of course they potentiate, because what they do is they inhibit that mucous membrane I talked about that prevents the acid from getting on the stomach, and then they remove it. And you see, you have the acid, the direct contact, and then you have some ulceration, wounds in your stomach, and it can get so bad that by the time those wounds get then straight to a vessel, it ruptures the vessel, and then you have bleeding. So you have people bleeding sometimes, all right? And then one other cause is a genetic factor. So sometimes ulcers can be genetic, all right? It's called the Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, where the vagus nerve that supplies the intestine is hyperstimulated, and so you have excessive secretion of acid. And listen, this is specific for certain people, okay? Just the way some people sweat more than other people, just the way some people, eat more than the other people. Some people produce saliva more than other people. You can also produce gastric acid more than other people. Well, the word is try to eat recurrently. Don't fast every time. If you're fasting, let it clear that you're fasting, okay? And you want to fast guidedly, okay? Maybe with your doctor. You like to see your doctor first and be sure that you're good to go, okay? If not, you don't do it recurrently, okay? What other things can you do to prevent it? Yeah, irrational use of drugs. Don't just take drugs because you see them. Don't drink chemicals easily. The use of alcohol potentiates it. Regular intake of alcohol exposes you to possibilities of coming down with peptic ulcer disease. Now, one other thing is ingestion of diet. What kind of food should you do? High levels of acid containing diet should be minimized. All right. Sometimes you see people taking all kinds of concussions, herbal concussions. You are exposing yourself to great dangers. Okay. When you do all kinds of acid containing meals or diet, lime, you're trying to mix lime and ginger, and you're trying to lose weight, but you are potentiating something else. So it's important that you are careful what you are mixing, prevent it. You don't have to take excessive protein diet. Some people like to take roasted meat, for example, what we call suya locally. You do a lot of suya and you do a lot of alcohol. That can potentiate peptic ulcer disease for people. So prevent it by reducing this type of foods. Try not to take a lot of carbonated drinks. Alcohol dropped drastically. Water is very important. And before you do some of these things, please eat right. All right, eat your balanced diet. Don't skip meals. For basic treatments, you just get to meet your doctor who would prescribe the drugs for you. But you're not supposed to eat heavy foods, but just eat in bits. All right. So you wake up in the morning, you want to sometimes do alkalinized water and then a slight breakfast. Not anything acidic. A balanced diet is fine. If you must go for a fast, then tell your doctor. Major symptoms, remarkable symptoms of peptic ulcer disease is that you have painful sensation here on your upper stomach. Many times that gets you to the back. Many people have diagnoses of peptic ulcer disease, which are really not peptic ulcer disease. So they come up to the hospital and say, they say I have ulcer. And I say, who said? And they say, well, my auntie said, or my uncle said. No, you have to have a diagnosis of peptic ulcer disease. And one of them, like I said, is a test of H. pylori. The other test is, which is usually the gold standard. There's URABREATH test, one of the tests, but the gold standard is an endoscopy, where you get to see the internal organ and be sure that there's a wound there. And this usually happens when there's bleeding, from the mouth or from the anus. All right. Other symptoms, like I said, is bleeding. You have bleeding. So you don't just have pain, pain that spans from this upper stomach down to the back. So it feels like a dagger piercing through you, down to the back. It's characteristic of that. Okay. Especially worsened when you've not eaten or when you just ate. The moment you take in food, you feel that sharp pain that, wanes for a while. So food affects the pain. Okay. Of course, bleeding is one of the side effects, one of the symptoms of peptic ulcer disease, bleeding either from the mouth, just see slight trace of blood, or from the anus. One more thing is the heartburn. You feel that constricting pain, heartburn. Then lastly, there are few other symptoms, but one of the remarkable symptoms is a headache. You have a persistent headache that can be called a migraine. Not necessarily a migraine, but many people just say, oh, it's a migraine, but it's not. You notice that headache coincides with when you have the stomach pain, or it precedes the stomach pain. Now, that is a kind of symptom of a peptic ulcer disease. Usually, it's said that some of the brain cells, have some mimicking cells that look like the ulcer cells. So whenever the ulcer is firing, or whenever the gastric acid is firing, you have the same firing occurring in the brain, and you have that headache. Whenever you have it, you need to treat properly for peptic ulcer disease.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Saleh, and today, even though it's our ladies' night out, we have a gentleman amongst us. Hello, Kunle Lawal.
Good day. It's a pleasure to be here as always. You know, being a friend of family, I think it's an interesting time. But you know, ladies' night. Let's see how it goes.
Yes, so you're looking amazing, by the way.
Thank you, and you knocked the charts yourself.
Oh, thank you, thank you. How are you, NJ?
I'm doing swell. I'm doing great. Had a great day at work, so yeah.
Had a very long day at work. Like, I had a very long day. Okula, you were at a colloquium today. How was it?
Yes,
it was his birthday.
Yeah, it was quite impressive. You know, sitting down in the colloquium, watching a man being celebrated for his 62nd birthday. Quite prominent people there, and you know, having a life that you could describe based on your character over time, and you know, your dedication to leadership. It's something that's rare, and you know, he's someone who's acknowledged for meritocracy, which is something that we have lost totally in this country.
In this country, yeah. I'm actually very, I'm a huge fan of his because it's very interesting how some people quietly just, you know what, I want to do something right. And he was one of those people that stuck his neck out, especially this election season. So it's a good thing. It's a very, very dicey place to be. But hey, we have one life to live. We have to live it well.
I think what was most interesting at the colloquium was the ability to merge, you know, so you had LP candidates, you had APC, the First Lady of Lagos was there, and, you know, you had, you know, a whole mix, and, you know, everybody, as much as they want to send annoying texts to each other, they had to sit down there and smile and celebrate a great man. And for me, that's what makes you, you know, part of the most rare tribe in Nigeria, which is being Nigerian. And it was a great thing.
Absolutely. I think we have EC on Zoom. EC, are you there? Hello. EC, are you there?
Yes, I am. Okay. Hello, ladies. Hello, Kunle.
How are you?
Hi.
I'm very well, thank you.
How was your day?
Well, it's been a bit stressful, but we're here. We're doing what we love to do.
Okay. All right, so today we want to discuss something interesting. It was actually the topic we penned out for yesterday, but sorry, let us even apologize to our viewers. We apologize for yesterday. We couldn't carry on with the show. So that's why we moved, you know, the topic till today, and also we have Kunle Lawal, because we're discussing issues around how the youth can leverage technology for governance, right? And here's what we found as today's quote. It is the duty of the youth to war against indiscipline and corruption because they are the leaders of tomorrow, right? So, as I said today, technology is the future, and for any nation to reach its full potential, it must leverage the power of technology to empower its youth. So, it's our ladies' night out, but we have a gentleman in our midst. So, Kunle Lawal, EC, NG, and I will be discussing the topic leveraging technology, you know, what for governance, and what the youth, what their responsibility would be in this, you know, in this whole mix. When we open our phone lines, we'd love to hear what you have to say about this. But first, let's go on a break. When we come back from the break, we want to quickly run through what we found in the news. All right, you are still watching Ways. Now, International Day of Mine Awareness and Assistance in Mine Action is observed every year on April 4th to raise awareness against explosive mines and gather assistance towards their eradication. The Mine Action community plays a significant role towards achieving the Mine Action goals, and it is led by the United Nations Mine Action Service. You know, when you watch some old movies where they have all those
mining scenes,
mine sites and all of that, like it's quite scary. You don't know what next step you would take.
I keep saying I'm happy I'm born in this generation because You know, going back to like the Vietnam War, World War II, where they plant mines and you're just walking as a soldier.
Yeah, and you just detonate. Yeah.
No, come on. Please, I prefer this one. You know what's happening.
At least do you understand? We know we know. Do you understand? Like, I mean, you know, some things are better just left in historical books, not to be experienced. Honestly, because
Just
that
to be
thing is
remembered.
like, you know, when you watch some movies and you see those mine sites that, you know, the person is trying to go
When they have casualties.
through, when you have all those casualties, you see, like, your heart will be palpitating. Please let it not detonate. Let it not, you know. So it's. I'm happy that again people are actually even very, you know, some things we don't even care about these things, but this thing still remains very, very much an issue for some other parts of the world,
Hence
even
the
in
reason
this
why it has
age
its own
and
name.
time. Yeah. All right. So Isi, let me come to you. What did you find for us in the news today?
My story in the news is it's rather a sad one, and it has to do with a young man who was killed in school. This happened in Uniben in Benin, and this is the headline that caught my attention was Uniben condemns killing of final year student, and the management of the University of Benin has condemned the killing of the final year student, popularly known as Mayor. He's a student of the Department of Public Administration, and he is said to be the chief care guide in the school. And he was shot dead by unknown gunmen. So the university, this happened actually last night actually, and the organization, which is Uniben, has sent the PRO to talk to the public about it. And while commiserating with the people and the family who have lost a loved one, they are also expressing the fact that they are looking into it with the help of the police and the internal security to confirm how this young man was killed and who were the culprits that were involved. And the PRO's name is Dr. Benedita Ehanire, pardon me, it's not Ehanire. And while she was doing this, she expressed her pain that at a time like this, where children are supposed to be going to school, they are actually being killed in school. So this should not happen again. While I do understand where she's coming from, I should also reiterate the fact that when students go to school, they should face the sole purpose of them being in school, which is their education, and not, partake in cultist activity or cult activities, basically.
It's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, quite unfortunate.
School is somewhere that you go to learn, and you're supposed to be safe within the confines of the school. So to imagine that your child or ward could, go to school and not return home is quite unfortunate. And I think it's the responsibility of the university to actually investigate and find out what exactly happened.
Absolutely.
And to actually report to the authorities when they do. And I guess, my sympathies to the parents of
just so sad final
year student after strike and everything. So
there are some things better left to the imagination. Okay, let me take your story.
My story is speaking on the divorce rate amongst young couples in the FCT. So the judge of the Federal Republic of Nigeria Magistrate Court, Sheikh Ayuba Abubakar, has expressed worries over the high rate of divorce amongst young couples in Nigeria, especially in the FCT. He expressed his concern while speaking at the annual Ramadan lecture over the weekend. He said as a judge that he's having a high rate of divorce, especially the rate in the FCT is so alarming. Young couples in 2 years, 3 years marriage drag themselves to court, and he has discovered that most of them, there's no way out to separate them and for them to live in peace. So Well, the story goes on, but it's just quite interesting for him to be bothered about the high rate of divorce. I guess the kind of cases that are going on now. So for me, I just feel like, yes, it has been of note, I think, recently that there has been a high case of divorces. And this is...
I think it's not even unique to the FCT.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a general...
Tell us why people are divorcing in your state.
Why do you think I'm kind of looking and saying...
No. You are the FCT
totally
person.
Unfair because this is Lagos.
Yes, it's like a single date out. It happens everywhere.
So for me, I think generally in Nigeria, or in the world actually, the impatience or the lack of character of this generation has not only eaten across different things from politics, governance, it has also come into our basic family unit, which is marriage. Most people are ready to disagree at anything. This is the most highly self-aware generation in life. And most shockingly, highly self-aware, but totally oblivious of the word selflessness. And because of that, 80 or 90% of the things that you read are all about you, about me, about this.
Kunle, that's been prejudging, actually. How can you say that oblivious of selflessness?
I'll give you an example. Let's take your celebrity people, because that would be very easy for you to for everyone to understand. So Meghan Markle, and this is not a common position. Well, Meghan Markle, you're getting married into the British royal family. What did you expect? If you're getting married into any royal family anywhere in the world, yeah, you know what you're getting into. Let's not go into this. You know what you're going to expect. What do you expect? A puppy. You're not going to get that. That is the tradition. That's who we are. If you want to stay away from it, stay away from it. If you don't want heat, get out of the kitchen. And that's the way things are. The present generation we live in tries to, how would I put it? I don't want to use the word woke, because with the amount of Google, I can tell you most people do not know more than one river or two rivers in Africa. So I really don't, even with ChatGPT. So I don't agree really, like woke means you know what it means.
Being up to date.
So I think we've relied a lot on, we are so selfish in this generation. We're not ready to give back to anything. And our impatience and intolerance levels are quite high.
Very short. I agree with you.
Now, this is the story I want you to take for me. Donald Trump has arrived at the Manhattan Criminal Court to surrender to authorities and face charges. Trump has reportedly been charged with 34 felony counts of falsification of business records. According to report, Trump will be fingerprinted but not handcuffed. He will also not have a mugshot taken. This comes as reports are circulating that the judge presiding over the case may issue a gag order, because you know, say the man sabi talk, preventing the former president from speaking publicly about his court proceedings. While in his motorcade to the courthouse, Trump released the following statement: heading to Lower Manhattan, the courthouse seems so surreal. Wow, they're going to arrest me. Can't believe this is happening in America. MAGA. What's mean MAGA? It says more to come. So, I mean, this is, we all know the back and forth that has been going with the president. But when you are, someone that lives, eats, breathes politics, when you hear things like this, or you see things like this happening, what does it mean to you?
So there are multiple ways of looking at it. The first would be from the average emotional position, which is, they're arresting someone who is being witch-hunted. But we need to understand that even during his tenure of presidency, Trump has been already arraigned on quite a number of charges, but because of the immunity of the office of president, he was exempted from such actions during COVID. The Capitol Hill attack. The list is endless. Not attending the inauguration of the next incoming president. There are lots of things Trump is being held for. And America is all about institutions. Let's not forget that. So since America is all about institutions, Trump has a bid which, of course, he's trying to hide, but we all know he wants to run for president this coming year, this next cycle.
Yeah.
So what is going to happen is critical. He's hoarded White House documents. He's known for a cult following. The way America or the world thinks is strategically. Africa, you stop the guy after the election has been won and say it was rigged. America, Europe, Britain, you stop the guy before he wins the primaries. That's a smarter way to do it. This is no offense, please, I'm not referring to anybody in Nigeria, but I'm just annexing how we look at things generally. So Trump has stepped quite on a lot of lines. His issues with Congress, threatening to not even attend State of the Union while being American president, which has never been heard before. Trump has taken quite a lot of time. I think all of this, I know why he won't be handcuffed. He's an ex-president. America must protect the institution. So he won't be handcuffed. He will be gagged also because we all know Trump. Trump is like a machine gun with a keypad. He's a machine gun with a keypad. So it's kind of, Trump will be held a little bit. But I think all of this is being done so that he doesn't run in the next cycle. And once he doesn't run in the next cycle, I'm sure, as much as he has broken the law, there will be softer charges, just basic fines, restrictions on some actions, and he'll be let go of.
So do you ever see this kind of thing happening in Nigeria?
No.
Okay, let me...
Not anytime soon.
Let me
say it that way.
It could happen.
There's a possibility.
Yes,
There's a possibility of it happening in Nigeria. And the only possibility is this. The day we all enjoy 24 hours light for 3 years in Nigeria, then we can start to think of it. I didn't say it will happen. Start to think of it. That's how close we are to it.
We'll leave it there. Wow. We have an interesting conversation to take this conversation further. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
They talk, this one go hot, other shaman corrupt, but this one is not. You serve the talk, when we protest the shot, make we carry PVC, make we see what thing goes up.
All right, thanks for staying with us. We're discussing issues around the, youth involvement, right? So referencing an article by Akinjife Daniel, technology is key in the development of virtually all nations of the world. It has a historical record of bringing advances that have led to healthier, wealthier, and more productive lives, and is a key ingredient to solutions to the most serious poverty, alleviation, and economic development challenges that we currently face and are likely to face in the future. So young people are oftentimes regarded as tech natives who need no assistance when it comes to navigating technological tools. So we can therefore say that we're leveraging technology. Leveraging technology as young people, how would this help, in terms of giving better leadership, better governance, right? That's the question or the conversation for tonight. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow, Africa1 with the hashtag Wayshow. All right, so the reason we had to play that video was because that's the wave of the moment right now. A lot of people are doing the Mr. Yakubu challenge, right? And this particular song is coming off of the back of the just concluded 2023 general elections, right? Young people are very creative. They're very talented. They have a lot of, gifts and talents that they can always use, to pass a message. So when I watched this video, even though he's speaking to and I put it in quote, the anomalies that happened during the election, it just got me thinking. Truly, we can do a lot more than Fela did. Fela sang about governance, he was singing about all of those things, right? But nothing really changed because he was just stating the problem. But now imagine us truly now taking everything that we have at our beck and call. So imagine Falz creating a video on your local government chairman, on this, the things to look out for, you know, leveraging technology to just drive better governance. You know, so that got me thinking, and, you know, that was why, you know, the topic came to be. What would it look like if the youth truly engaged the capacity that they have, you know, mix it with technology to drive better governance? Because we've seen that our fight or whatever has failed at the level of PVC, it has failed at the level of whatever. So why don't we just say, you know what, anybody that has either elected or selected themselves there, let us just make sure that they're doing the job and use this same technology to drive that. Is it possible?
Yes, it is. I've been part of a lot of things that have helped drive technology in politics and governance in Nigeria. From the first election being ratified by political parties, by any political party, by INEC in 2016, was conducted, you know, under, you know, participation by me and a few others, then as a National Publicity Secretary. I must critically say you cannot engage what you don't understand. So yeah, the FALS video looks good, it's great. But here are some few things I need to point out. If you've read the Electoral Act, before you get to, you know, the issues with IREV that we're complaining about, there were other anomalies that were broken down a lot earlier. So one of them is within the Electoral Act. I can't remember the exact subsection right now. I think 772, I'm not sure. But it clearly states that all political parties, before Congress and Convention, must produce a soft copy and a hard copy of all the membership of its parties, of the party. Now, this was not completed by any of the 18 political parties. That's already an anomaly, meaning that all congresses and conventions which were held, or primaries,
were flawed,
which means whoever emerged from it did not react. This is regardless of parties, so whether you support Labour and NPP, PDP,
so
APC,
all parties failed at that level.
They all failed. So you see, you can't start ignoring A, B, C, then get to Z and start shouting. That's what the problem is. I think Section 95(2) of the Electoral Act clearly states that, though yet to be interpreted by the Supreme Court, but it clearly states that no state apparatus can be involved in supporting or degrading any candidate. State apparatus refers to appointed executive and paraphernalia of elected officials. So a governor can support anybody he wants to, but commissioners can't. We don't see those situations in Nigeria. You have even, what is shocking, a campaign spokesman who is a sitting minister. That's wrong.
That's wrong.
Yeah. That's wrong. It's totally wrong.
You should have resigned if you wanted to take on that position.
And as a son, it comes a little embarrassing. We start to question what the body of benchers has a position on this, because yes, the interpretation is not a minister cannot. You know, in Nigeria, we virtually want to write in the constitution, the president needs to brush his teeth.
Yes.
Before we understand, the president needs to brush his teeth. And it doesn't do that. So there are a lot of things. The youth are critical because, of course, the largest voting population, they put a lot into everything. But like I said, you can't engage what you don't understand. So there are things you need to be part of. Yeah, everybody will want to say, I got my PVC. No, in politics, PVC is not the first move. If you go to countries like America,
that's already
UK,
too late.
It's too
At
late.
the point of PVC, it's already too late.
If you go to America, UK, China, you know, other participatory, you know, elective systems, what you're going to find out is that you have more people in political parties than people that vote. And this is because you effect the kind of people that emerge. Once they emerge and 5 are good, you don't need to bother yourself who exactly wins.
And may the best man win.
That beautiful. But we don't want to be part of politics. We'll say one party is bad. I don't believe any party is bad. What happens is that some parties have bad players. Some have more bad players than the others. Let's be honest. I'm just being critical. Nigerians were, okay, behind a particular party I don't want to name. And they were so drunk about the political party. But let's look at the system within political parties. The entire hierarchy is made up of people that were in those other parties that they say they don't want to be a part of. So what are you talking about? It is not parties that are bad. It's players within the parties that are bad.
Absolutely.
And for me, the youth miss this. And I blame a lot of things on, as much as we say technology has been good, it also has been bad. So Nigeria is at the point where I travel a lot. It's at the point where I feel that we've come to a point where ethnicity didn't really matter. I'm a lot mixed, and I move around quite a lot. But the same technology that can be used for good. So technology is a double-edged sword that can be used for good. Actually, was used to cause mayhem. The amount of ethnicity and tribalism brought into this politics and religion brought into this brand of politics was driven with technology, making it closest to Nigeria has never been this close to 1965 preceding the civil war until this election.
Okay, so I mean, this is interesting. I would like to hear Isi's thoughts, and I'd like to hear NJ's thoughts on this, because Misha, when I saw the video of Mr. Yakubu, when I saw that video, I thought, imagine if we start to wake up to the reality. I mean, you are the one that's always driven it into our heads. I think when we met you, we became a lot more politically literate. Thank you for increasing my political awareness. I was a complete dummy. I can announce myself on TV. I was a complete dummy when it comes to political issues. And thank you for your friendship and continuous guidance, because it has really helped to open my eyes. You know how you used to shout, you and Uti will shout about PVC is not the answer. We didn't see it until 2023 happened. All of us, our eye come clear, But you see, now we are seeing them releasing videos, releasing skits, and all of those things, right? I am just thinking, can we find a way to channel that energy, towards, and I'd like to hear your thoughts, Isi, towards creating some form of consciousness? Because it's one thing for politics to happen. There is a governance part that nobody is paying attention to. You now sleep again, and now wake up 4 years after again, say you want to go and elect somebody. But there was governance for 4 years. Nobody paid attention. And we're having problems there. Isi, let me hear your thoughts.
Well, this is a topic that is very close to my heart, because we have disregarded the principles of governance. And the principles of governance varies. There is fairness, there is transparency, there is responsibility, and there is one more thing I can't remember. I think participatory, basically. So we have, like Kunle stated earlier, we have not participated fully in terms of what is expected of us to actually get what we are supposed to get from our government or whoever is governing us. And for us to achieve all of this, we have to take the concept of the principles of governance into heart. And we've not looked at where we're going to as a people and as the youth of Nigeria, basically. Why am I saying this? We send out a narrative based on the media. We send out a narrative, whether it's on social media, whether it's on the internet, or in whatever capacity, basically, whether it's local. We send out whatever message or narrative we want to send out to the populace to listen to us or to get an information on. Now, this same narrative is also sold to us by the government. How do we counter this? Okay, that's my take. How do we counter this? We can counter this by creating, the digital governance when we have digital governance, the internet doesn't forget. We can always go back and record everything that has been stated by the government or whoever is governing us. We can go back and talk to them about this and give them facts and figures.
And remind them of all their promises.
Yes, and remind them of their promises. These are the things that we can actually do because the internet doesn't forget. So
we can actually hold them accountable. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, we can hold them accountable based on what they have done and said in the past. And we can use the media to do that.
Absolutely. Let me come to you, NJ. It's actually interesting. Isi don't turn to monitoring spirit. Make we begin to check all that, all the campaign promises and everything. Just note all the timestamps, everything, and once it's time, start giving them the dossier. Okay, you said you're going to give us free education. Oh yeah, where is it?
Because we easily do that on a daily.
Yeah.
We do that when no one is asking us to do that on social media. Someone posts something. You see within a couple of hours, someone goes like years ago and brings it and then has time to go and do an edit and put it side by side and then have a comment and everything. So that is one way we can actually do it. You know, during this whole election and campaign season, a lot of people have said a lot of things, a lot of, you know, campaign promises here and there. And, you know, as time goes on, you know, some of these statements are going to start to change, and we'll see it also in the media. And at that point in time is where
never promised you something.
And is at that point in time that technology can be leveraged to actually hold these people accountable and say, okay, when you were campaigning, you promised us this, you promised us that, and this is you, and then you play a video saying this is you actually doing this. So eventually you can be held accountable. And I feel like another way that we can hold or leverage on technology is actually not being, as youths, not being the incubators of fake news. So also on social media, during the campaign season, a lot of you know, news was out there, and you couldn't even tell which one was real, which one was fake. You know, there was no way of authenticating.
No sanctions.
There was no sanctions. There was no way of authenticating the news and the information that you were being loaded with, and we were loaded with a lot of information. So it took a lot for people to see which one was real, which one was fake. And as Nigerians, we like to share. So we just went off, you know, spreading and, you know, escalating this news without even verifying if it was actually authentic. So that is one way we can actually curb, because the use, there is a guideline and a principle for even the use of social media and other media, you know, platforms. There is a guideline, things, do's and don'ts. So even when we get information, how we do spread those information actually puts a question on our character, because it is wrong for you to be a perpetrator of news that you're not even sure of. You can, and it's very easy. There are a lot of group chats that were formed also during that period, and a lot of information was carried out, you know, and this whole, you know, religious and tribal issues affected the country in different ways. Got to the point where even, you know, you have a staff or somebody who has been working with you, and for the first time you were looking at them very differently. You were looking at them like, okay, so if something happens tomorrow, are you going to actually, irrespective of how good I've been to you, to turn against me? So the country got to the point where we were thinking about that, of our next neighbor. And for me, that just means that we lack a lot of love within the country, and we lack a lot of self-love and love for others. So I know we say that Nigerians are happy people, but, you know, this election period actually brought a lot of things that we had bottled up inside, brought it up to the surface, and these are issues that we actually have to deal with if we are to move forward.
Absolutely. I mean, speaking about doctored videos, I mean, I don't know if anyone had recently listened to the audio tape that was allegedly leaked for Oyedepo and Peter Obi. That's the one that is the latest one.
Oh, really?
Well, that's the latest one that, you know, that's been, you know, in the news for a while now, where they mentioned how he was talking about certain things and all of that. I mean, so, you know what? The power that the youth possess, I don't think they understand it yet. But you know what? Let's go on a very short break. When we come back from the break, I'll come to you, Kunle, because there is a power that is really good, that it can actually turn out for our own good. But we just need to channel it right. But we'll take a break. When we come back, I'd also like to open our phone lines to hear your thoughts. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, so, I mean, if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, but we have a gentleman in our midst. His name is Kune Lawal. And we're discussing governance, and we're asking how can they use leverage technology, right? And what's their responsibility, in leveraging technology to drive good governance. Now, please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. All right, so Kule, I was saying that the youth don't understand the power that they possess. And this is why I say so. Monopoly had happened with mainstream media. The only people that could get eyeballs, following, and all of that were the NTAs, the AITs, the whatever, TVCs, the Plus TV, But you see, what social media has done, a macaroni would release a video. Like in less than 20 minutes, you already have 50,000 views. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's that powerful. So now imagine if we now say, because again, we quickly we hibernate so quickly. We are angry, we are agitated, we are pushing and everything. The next thing, all the drama happens, we go back to sleep. So imagine if we understood this power and we start to really, become very deliberate about governance. You were the one that taught us that our local government chairman does not have immunity. I can actually sue him to court for not doing some work. Do you understand? Imagine if we understood that. So how can we, that knowledge, how can we begin to feed a lot of young people the power that they possess? We're starting something in partnership with Enough is Enough.
Yeah.
Want to do more of those kinds of things so that you just be using your social media platform. It's just like some of these telcos. You know that sometimes if you just tweet, they will answer you quicker. Some banks, they don't want to see their name on Twitter because once you tweet and you tag them, they will quickly respond to you. So that's power. So how do we leverage on that?
I'll go back to what I said first. You can't engage what you don't understand.
I know.
But now, here's the point. So I'll give an example in Nigeria. Doctored or undoctored phone call. Everybody's arguing this call is doctored. There was one about Atiku preceding 3 days before the election, which they were talking SPV or whatever, which made news. The first thing you need to know is against the constitution and the laws protecting Nigerians.
To record any phone call.
Yes. Even the government does not have that power. If you address that first, you'll be solving a bigger problem. So, you see, we have left what actually is law and are following the emotional aspect of things, which is Nigeria's biggest problem. Now to the fact that, okay, we can leverage this, we can use this, we can know this. I'll tell you something, and I'll give you two situations. The Electoral College Nigeria has done a lot of work in politics and governance. But I'll tell you one of the things that happened. We launched one of our cohorts the same day news broke that Yul Edochie, no offense, has a, new wife, or then was side chick, then now wife, and you get. Naturally, the Electoral College, give or take, has never fallen below 150 sign-ups in a day. We fell below 40.
Wow.
The question is what exactly is important to Nigerians. And I don't blame them. We've lost meritocracy in this country. This is a country that will give 70 million to someone who went to Big Brother. Didn't win, went to Big Brother. Give a person a position with government and they think, well, what do you want somebody to come out with a 5.0 GPA and collect 1 million naira check? It doesn't mean that they will, which they will not even pay them, which they will not even pay them eventually. They will have to remind the government.
It's just the pictures for follow-up.
So it's the message we are sending.
Lopsided.
So Nigerians now, I really don't blame the next generation. They're saying, okay, we want them to adapt, to be close to governance. We want them to be cool with governance. We're not. As much as we try to teach them, as much as Enough is Enough, Electoral College Nigeria, CGIG, Yaga are doing massive work. None of us sleep. It doesn't seem enough because the truth is they've been bought over by something and told that this doesn't matter. And the only reason they are told this doesn't matter is so that the actors that act can perpetrate what they need to perpetrate. First, under the Constitution of Nigeria, and I'm in Lagos, I need to tell you this. This is not about no man's land or anything or that nonsense everybody has to say. any Nigerian can run for an office anywhere in Nigeria, as guaranteed by the Constitution. It is not a probability, it is law. Any Nigerian can live anywhere, any Nigerian can run anywhere. Come on, I'm an example. My name is Kunle, I ran for Senate in FCT. What are you talking about? I'm an example of that. So let's not say, this is one, I hate the word activist, but let's use it for this conversation. See this activist on Waze. He's saying anybody can run anywhere. I've lived it. If I haven't done it here, I'm not going to tell you that.
But would you be able to run in Lagos?
Why would what to stop me? I'm just not interested in Lagos. You have no drainages. Back to what I was saying. No offense. But back to what I was saying. It's important that you get to understand how the system really works. It's important that you are keyed into understanding what exactly goes on. I was very disappointed. Governor Umahi I think, was stating that he moved parties. And, it was on Channels TV, and they asked him clearly, why did you move parties? Did you enjoy the manifesto? He said, I'm a new member, I've not read the manifesto. God damn.
On that note, hold on. Sorry, they said I did not open phone line. Our phone line is now open. The number to call is 07025007749. That's the number to call. Remember to turn off the volume of your television set, please, or whatever it is that you're watching us for. Please go ahead.
So, goddamn, how do you do that in a democracy? If you do that in any other country, you'll be short of shot. And it's cool here. You don't need to read the Constitution. I can tell you, 97%, and this is me saying it on national TV, 97% of the people in parties have not read their party constitution.
Well, if you don't mind me asking you this, I know this is something that we need to talk about, but you are the political expert here, so I want to get your take on this. And this has to do with selective governance. I was going to talk about it, but I think you will be in a better position to talk about it. So what do you think about the situation we have currently in Nigeria? Do you think that there is selective governance where when we need to actually get the job done, in quotes, the DSS knows how to get the job done, seek the people out, know the corrupt office individuals, and get them to answer to the law. But when it comes to a certain set of individuals, they do not go the extra mile. So do you think we have selective governance in Nigeria, basically?
We don't have selective governance. What we've done is that we've actually truncated our constitution, and here is how it goes. Now, in any country in the world, police is under justice because the job of justice is to, of course, provide interpretation and enforcement of laws. But now you have the police under interior, which is under the executive, which is thereby subverting the powers of the Attorney General is elected by the president in Nigeria. In other civilized countries, you have the body of benchers nominating somebody endorsed by the president and the National Assembly. So, the initial problems are things we haven't even decided to talk about. And as long as police remains under the executive's control, how are you going to have justice, please? You had Supreme judges being arrested.
So in other words, we actually have selective governance.
I wouldn't call it selective because all of us are guilty of it. See, if you owed me 150,000 naira now, if I had a cousin that is a policeman, man, you're in trouble. So please do not say it's only politicians. We're all guilty of it. It's not a.
It's something that we're all guilty of.
But why is it allowed to happen?
Because we generally.
That's why selective governance. That's my point.
Why is it allowed to happen? There should be rules and there should be a way of.
Well, for me, Nigerians are on. How would I put it? The best way to explain this is to use an analogy. Nigerians are at a buffet of corruption. We just wait for whose turn it is to eat or father. So as long as somebody is in power, you tolerate the nonsense going on because one day my uncle or who I'm sitting opposite can become minister, and then I would be able to, abuse the privileges of office. So we just wait for that.
That means that we the youth of Nigeria, we are probably not responsible enough to actually participate in politics.
I
currently.
don't
But we
think
have-
I don't think it's a question of responsibility, and I don't term myself youth. I'm actually going to be 45 end of this year, so I don't term myself youth. Yes, I can announce my age, but I think it's a responsibility. It's an issue of character, which is lacking. You can, if you track youth in Nigeria, or people who are considered youth in Nigeria, which is anybody below 55, which is the wrong age, but anybody below 55, 1 year they're saying this about Buhari, next year they're saying this about Tinubu, next minute they're saying this about Peter Obi. The lack of consistency or lack of dedication to laws, and Nigerians are not judged, they are not directed by laws or governance, they are being directed by emotional perspectives. The person that I'm supporting is my tribe, the person I'm supporting is my religion, or the person is in my political party. Apart from that, ask a Nigerian to give a qualitative reason why. We don't even know what party is capitalist in Nigeria. We don't know which one is socialist. And you know, we don't, if you ask, I can call hierarchy of national party hierarchy, and these people do not know whether their parties actually represent a socialist perspective or a capitalist perspective. And that's how bad it is. So what do you expect from the citizens?
So where I think I hear you like circling around is ignorance. Highly ignorant.
I think ignorance is a good word. We have to find a word worse than
ignorance, right? I can imagine. So how do we even begin to correct this, right? Because again, a good majority of young people spend their time online, on social media, some of these apps, and all of that, doing the challenge, doing the whatever challenge, and all of that. How do we begin to speak their language? Because again, for you to be able to reach them, you must be able to, first of all, transmit your information through the medium that they are residing in. So how do we start to organize that?
I think we've reached a point in Nigeria where we're beginning to spoon feed people and expect them to be spoon fed. I'm one of those that doesn't align to the fact that we have to translate. So I remember when we said PVCs are not important, and the Electoral College put it out that we will support the PVC drive, but we're not going to be a flag bearer of it. And we're talking about political parties. Everybody said, Kunde, the Electoral College, they've gone crazy. When the emergence happened after the primaries, everybody was like, okay, Kunde got it. So I think I rather set the precedence for what should be, and then allow people to make their judgments. I don't need to tell you water is hot. Sometimes you have to allow the baby put his finger into the water, and then when it burns him. So I believe Nigerians should first suffer from what is. And this is not that I want people to suffer, but it seems that's the only language we understand. Because let's look at it this way. The Electoral College will say we are giving you free classes, 9 weeks. We're going to give you a certificate. We're going to train you. We're going to do this. People are not ready to attend it. But tell them we're going to, you can pay 25K to sit down with Portable. And
they
the room
will.
is full.
Yes.
Please help me. I can't help you help yourself.
Trust me, I can understand that. Yeah, true.
And I've taken that position. It might seem harsh, most people say, but I think people need to understand a few things.
So let's get our fingers burnt first. Go
I
ahead,
think
Angel.
that will send a better message.
So this is, we have more youth with PVC in the north than in the south. They came out and voted for that choice. He won the election. The radio is the media in the north. Over 40 million people listen to the radio.
I agree with the radio part,
Yeah.
but I'm in total disagreement with the voting patterns. The highest voting block is the youth, which is over close to about 46-47%. If you put it if you put the age up to 45, you're going to have 70% of Nigeria's voting population. So, and I think that is more predominant in the south. So you can't say, so the key is not who has a PVC. I think what the person is trying to say and cannot put properly is that those in the north will use their PVCs. Those in Lagos, there's Tampa Bay, there's Ghana to go to during elections. You know, Lagos, they live the soft life, which is why they don't have drainages. And Lekki is like a pet aquarium.
Will you stop saying you don't have age?
Ah,
Wow.
only
Lekki is like a what?
a pet aquarium. Wow. Sanwo-Olu, I hope you are hearing, so that in case you want to look for who to find or who to send your bill to. His name is Kule Lawal. He's the of the Electoral College, the founder CEO. But you know, I don't know. It's a bit of a downer for me, what you've said, but it's the bitter truth that we must all swallow. Young people, truly, they want to be spoon-fed. Everybody just wants, and all of that. But I still believe in guidance, right? If we have to handhold people, we can, because, Kule, the kind of education you received growing up is not the type of education that is happening now. A lot of things have been so watered down. So that toughness, or that, what's it called? That expanded mindset that you think that they should have, young people should have, they can't have it. A lot of people are very shallow. They're just very the basics. Let's not do too much.
What?
So that's what I'm saying to you, that because again, when you destroy the educational sector, you understand that capacity for them to think and reason. You and I say, come, let's sit down and reason together. In no day again. So how do we solve the problem? Because you must really handhold people. You can't just say, okay, I beg, if they cannot use their brain, they want to go and sit down or listen to Portable or do Malian, whatever, then let them go. You can't, because they were not given better choices. So they don't even know how to make better choices for themselves.
Before Kunle comes in, can I just say one thing? Just a brief one. My take on this is that the younger generation today, or those of us that are in the younger generation, that tends to be the younger generation, what we have is we have a narrative that has been given to us that we have imbibed, and that narrative is not feasible. Is watered down. And that watered down concept is not serious. So wherever we look for what is easier to achieve than looking for what is difficult to achieve. That's why you're talking about the fact that we do not think, we do not, have that tenacity or that drive to go the extra mile to achieve what we're supposed to achieve.
What's shocking now here is that, okay, the Electoral College in its 3 years of existence has trained over 10,000, and that's virtually, we've done, adding physically, we've done over 15,000. And what I've seen is that when you provide people the necessary information needed to achieve something, what I've seen is that we've seen people drive and become local government chairman. We've seen people drive and become president of the Medical Association of Students. We've seen people drive. One of our students was a deputy gubernatorial candidate. We've seen people drive. We've seen them being able to dream. So I don't think the problem is they're not able to think. It's just they've chosen something to become a norm. Now, I'll give you an example. Etiosa, which is a local government here, I won't talk about their local government electrician, but no offense, but I'll talk about what matters. Now, Etiosa, everybody on Friday knows Etiosa is the hottest place in Nigeria entirely. In short, Etiosa could be called the Las Vegas of Nigeria.
True. Yeah.
Now, the money that is mostly spent on Friday night is being spent by the youth population. Do you know that if you take the amount that is being spent on clubs in a month in Etiosa, it's enough to deliver a governor into office?
A month?
Yeah, I don't need to go a year. A year can deliver president. I guarantee that. If you put down I didn't say all clubs in Lagos. I narrowed down to just Etiosa. That is how misplaced we are. I told somebody and I said, do you know that to deliver a councillor in Etiosa, the money you people spend on one Friday night will give you a councillor and a local government chairman? But we don't think that way. Nigerians have been taught to think, like I said, it's a selfish perspective. As long as I get what I want, or I go where I'm able to go, everybody else can drink Gary. In short, I think this generation is more drunk at trying to show the next man, I am better than you. And that is their undoing. And that is also provided a little bit by the technology.
Narrative.
Because it's been said that yes, Instagram is the biggest platform of envy. So it's almost like, let me go and check what NJ is doing. She just bought a new car. Oh yeah, myself. And that's what has even also escalated this BBL, the whatever,
that's not good.
the cars, everything, the fraud.
Like what? What? I'm the head of ECN. Who I just bought iPhone 14. Man, I have to join now.
Yes, I have to get it. Yeah. Wow. It's a bit of a downer, but we are going to survive. I think that consciousness, I still would not agree with you that it's a place of selfishness. You understand? If it's because you don't understand how important governance is to you. That's why you will not pay attention to the issues around governance and politics.
Do you know why I feel they understand
Majority.
what's important, how important governance is to them? If you check the average timeline, people complain about light, they complain about dustbins, they complain about taxation. It's massive. Check the average timeline. Everybody in the morning has one thing to nag about Nigeria. Now, it's also misguided because of their illiteracy that the first person they seem to think of is the president. That totally has nothing to do with you. So
they tell you, so now they don't understand.
It's president. Does being now your local government champ. They don't even address governors. I've been to states where you have people saying the governors tell them, it's Abuja holding your money. I can tell you clearly here. What do not people not say these days in this election time? Okay, I learned something this election time. Go and verify. There is no governor that if he does not receive his FAC allocation by 1st of the next month, he will be in Abuja. The president doesn't want to be seeing them. Trust me. This is their money every 26th. And that's what happened. But governors will lie to their people and say Abuja is owing them money. What? States have private jets. If I remember 1999, governors used to drive themselves. What went wrong?
That's
Cost
the
of
another
governance
kind
is really increased.
On that note, we are finished. You see why ladies' night we should not be bringing Kule Lawa.
I'm telling you.
But thank you so much, Kule. This has been. You see, every time I sit with you to discuss issues around this Nigerian problem, I learn something every day. We keep on learning. We will keep on learning. I believe there's hope. We can make things change. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Isi, and thank you, NJ. Before we go, ensure you follow us across all our social media handles at Wayshow Africa. You can interact with us further. More importantly, follow all the engagements on social media. Like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed our quote for the day, here it is again. It is a duty of youth to war against indiscipline and corruption because they are the leaders of tomorrow. Even though some will argue with you that the tomorrow doesn't seem to ever come. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another... Our own tomorrow will come at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.